coming up on Denver 7 News.
Our main goal is to try to get these students to college, but not just to college. We want to help them get through to their degree.
The First Lady is in the Metro this weekend, what her visit means for Latinos working for higher education. Drug overdoses are up.
They may say, well, but my son or daughter is getting it from this one person. That one person's getting it from somebody else.
How law enforcement is remaining vigilant as fentanyl use continues to rise at dangerous rates here at home. And it's almost time for the celebs to hit the red carpet for the Oscars. And one Denver-based composer is helping make the music for Hollywood's biggest night.
Good morning. Welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Saturday morning. And we are in for a very warm weekend all across Colorado. Temperatures nearly 15 to 20 degrees above average for our expected highs this afternoon. And we're waking up to mostly clear skies with downtown Denver there silhouetted in the distance. And in terms of our conditions outside currently from Westminster looking west, a little more cloud coverage into the high country. Glenwood Springs right now we're under a mostly clear sky as well. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon and temperatures back to the mid and upper 70s here over the metro. And it's already a really mild morning. 46 degrees currently. Winds will be gusty this afternoon, sustained currently from the southwest at 10 miles per hour. We're picking up a little bit of activity over northwestern Colorado, but for the most part, it will stay dry statewide. Now, winds will increase, so this afternoon, a fire weather warning will go into effect from Pueblo down south through Trinidad, Alamosa under a fire weather watch with wind gusts up to about 40 miles per hour. Warm, dry conditions, low relative humidity, which is why that will be in effect. Temperatures outside right now, we're in the 50s over Arvada, up into Broomfield, and out and about this morning. We'll stay mild by 9 o'clock, still in the low 50s, and those daytime highs soaring to the 70s this afternoon.
Katie, thank you. Well, breaking news, Denver police are now gathering information for a suspect after a man was shot and killed off 20th and Larimer overnight. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. If you know anything about this incident, call DPD. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden is in Denver this morning. She arrived last night. She's here for a White House event that's focused on advancing educational equity and economic opportunity for Hispanic people in our state. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us live now. And Christian, Dr. Biden's also attending an event that could help future generations with their higher education.
She is. She's going to be a guest speaker at an event tonight that is hosted by an organization that helps get more Latino students into college. So later this evening, First Lady Jill Biden will speak at the Latin American Educational Foundation Gala. The foundation is an old Colorado college assistance and scholarship program statewide that serves Colorado's Hispanic and Latino youth. And their goal is to get students into college and help get them to their degree. And we asked the foundation's executive director, Jim Chavez, about the importance of getting more Latinos into college.
We need a more talented, educated workforce, and college is the path to doing that. So our big goal is to help many, many more talented Hispanic and Latino students get to college, get through college successfully, and then launch them into their careers so they can be positive, contributing members of the economy and the community, but also, taking better care of themselves and their families, helping the community.
And Chavez told us that as the executive director, he could have been the one to introduce the First Lady at the event tonight, but instead he is going to let a student have that honor. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. Well, Dr. Jill Biden here. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden continues his work in Poland this morning. A major address is expected from him and Poland's president later on today.
And this as Russian forces in Ukraine seem to have shifted their focus from a ground offensive aimed at Kiev. ABC's Ty Hernandez reports.
Russia now saying its military purpose in Ukraine is to liberate the eastern Donbas region and not to seize other parts of the country, claiming it never had any intention of capturing Kyiv or any other major Ukrainian city.
Our forces and means will concentrate on the main thing, the complete liberation of Donbas.
Officials in Mariupol, a town nearly flattened by Russian shelling, aren't buying it.
They want more than Donbass. They want more than Ukraine. It's absolutely a lie what they say.
A senior U.S. defense official says Russia has lost up to 15% of its combat firepower and is now bringing reinforcements in from a Russian-occupied region of Georgia. U.S. intelligence believes as many as 10,000 Russian troops may have been killed so far. In a new address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine's heroic armed forces dealt powerful blows and significant losses to the enemy. As President Joe Biden touched down in Poland, he once again called Russian President Vladimir Putin a war criminal.
Keep the democracies united in our opposition and our effort to curtail the devastation that is occurring at the hands of a man who, I quite frankly, think is a war criminal.
President Biden will not tour humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, but Biden is scheduled to meet with Ukrainians who fled to Poland in Warsaw today. Ty Hernandez, ABC News, New York.
And a fundraiser is happening today at the Polish Club of Denver to provide some financial support for Ukraine. This starts at 2 o'clock. There's going to be authentic Ukrainian and Polish food. It is open to the public and lasts until 6.
Well, drug overdose deaths are on the rise in Colorado. According to a preliminary report from the Colorado Health Department obtained by our partners at the Denver Post, 1,757 people died from overdoses over the past year. That's up more than 700 since before the pandemic. And while the data doesn't break down overdoses by type of drug, fentanyl overdose deaths are on the rise. Colorado law enforcement says it's trying to get the powerful synthetic opioid out of the community. According to the Adams County Sheriff, busting dealers takes time. The agency works closely with the North Metro Task Force. The force investigates illicit drug operations in the area, and fentanyl has become a dangerous opponent. Last summer, during this drug bust, the North Metro Task Force seized a little more than 40,000 fentanyl pills. And this year, they expect to find more.
Just last week, patrol deputies in Adams County located over 20,000 pills. We're actually doing the hand-to-hand deal so that we don't have an informant or somebody's child placed in danger. So we're trying to take our undercover officers and get them in a place to where they can actually do the hand-to-hand deal, so that when we take that case to the DA, we can say, I personally did the drug deal between him and them.
Last year, says one of the Adams County deputies had to administer himself 2 doses of Narcan after being exposed to fentanyl on the job.
And just this past week, state lawmakers introduced a bill to cut down on fentanyl deaths. It would strengthen penalties for people who distribute fentanyl. And if someone dies as a result of distribution, dealers would be charged with a level 1 drug felony. The bill would also require mandatory substance use assessments and treatment as a part of sentencing.
Colorado wants to put a bigger focus on behavioral health support. Friday, a House committee passed a bill to create a new behavioral health administration. It would create a support system in every region of the state, focusing on substance abuse, crisis services, and criminal justice diversion. This was the first hearing for the bill.
And Colorado lawmakers also want better protections for those under a court-appointed guardianship.
It comes after Denver 7 Investigates exposed how guardians and conservators are bleeding estates of their assets with little oversight. The bill went before a committee this week.
And Denver 7 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski was there as this meeting took a dramatic turn.
We support HB 22-1271.
It's 6 numbers. 7 pages.
I am for this bill to help stop guardianship abuse.
And provides the most basic protections.
At least the families are going to be notified when their parents die.
But for these victims, it's a huge step towards overhauling the state's guardianship system.
During the guardianship, the most poignant abuse I was subjected to was isolation.
We have a serious problem in the probate court.
A court can place a person under guardianship if they are deemed mentally unfit to handle their affairs. If a family member is not able to step in, court-appointed strangers then have full control over their life, including their medical, financial, and legal decisions.
We need to fix these.
State Representative Kim Ransom is the lawmaker pushing the bill.
Some assurances that the guardians will not make decisions without notifying the family within a certain amount of time.
The bill says guardians must notify family members within 7 days if their loved one dies or is taken to the hospital.
Members, do we have any other amendments prepared? Representative Holtorf.
And here's where the committee hearing took that dramatic and unexpected turn.
Sometimes you are compelled to do something that is right.
Representative Richard Holtorf shocked the room when he introduced an amendment to make the bill even stronger.
Imagine if your mother was sent to the emergency room and no one told you for days and perhaps weeks. That is wrong. That is wrong on the human level.
The amendment ups the ante. It would require guardians to notify family members within 24 hours of their loved one dying and 48 hours for hospitalizations and other notifications outlined in the bill.
You cannot take 7 days to notify a family member of a deceased mother or father. It is common sense for anybody.
The Colorado Bar Association, which represents attorneys and judges, strongly opposes the bill, calling it unnecessary and saying existing laws already cover this.
Although the CBA very much believes that our state's guardianship laws can and should be improved upon, this bill unfortunately does not further that aim because it is not well written.
Opposition Representative Holtorf isn't buying.
Well, frankly, the Bar Association needs to get out of the way. The Bar Association doesn't run this Capitol, and the Bar Association doesn't speak for the people.
The legislation comes after Denver 7 Investigates exposed how guardians and conservators are taking advantage of the most vulnerable.
It can happen to you, it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone.
Our reporting found conservators are bleeding estates with little state oversight.
How much money from her estate has been liquidated at this point?
About $1 million. $1.5 million.
While Ransom's bill doesn't address the financials, it's the first bill in years to tackle anything related to the problem.
I think this bill at least is a tiny step, but it is a step to moving closer to what we need to have done.
Ultimately, the bill was put on hold so lawmakers can try to bring both sides back to the table. Representative Holtorf pulled his amendment for now, but says he plans to bring it back when the bill is back in committee. We asked to interview the Bar Association, but their attorneys denied our request. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski.
Well, it's almost time for Hollywood's biggest night, the Oscars. My one producer for the show says after nearly 100 years for the program, there are changes on the horizon.
And one music composer right here in Denver is helping give the show a soundtrack, how he's prepping for tomorrow's excitement.